All right, so I continue the saga. Uh, I found out that the arking's coming from, that would be the second RF amp. Uh, all four of these coils, let's just talk about these four coils, all have one of their legs. There's two coils in each coil. All right, inside there's two coils, a primary and a secondary. And each primary, one primary wire of each coil goes to a 1.2K resistor and then to 250 volts. So each one of these coils now has 250 volts going to it. The other side, the same side, the primary coil, the unused wire that's not hooked to anything, well, that goes up to the switch and just sits there. If you're not on that band, that coil has no current flowing through it from the plate of the RF amplifier. But it does have voltage sitting on a terminal up in the wafer switch. Now, they all share a resistor. So if any one of them, their lead that goes up and sits on the switch, even though it's not being used, if it should break down through the Bakelite to a ground, that noise will then be put on the coil you're using. And that's what makes it so difficult to troubleshoot. Now, right now, I have zeroed in on what lead is causing the coil to have the problem. Which lead on the wafer switch is starting to break down to ground through the wafer switch. But I haven't been able to measure it with the scope or my meters. And the next thing I'm going to try is a neon bulb that's real low current and at high voltage. But that's what I want. I want to actually see which lead. I'm doing it. I'm doing a process of elimination, but I would really like to be able to monitor the leakage from the lead or the terminal of the wafer to ground. Now, everybody else has had the wafer switch go on fire, and that's how they found it. Now, if you put in Hellcrafters SX42 wafer switch, band switch problem, you'll come on a group where the guy says, "I got this problem. The band switch has had a fire in one spot." He's telling right away. A guy actually comes in. Spray deox on it. I was like, the guy didn't even read correctly. He just shot from the hip, telling the person to do to it what does it in. This was one of the conferences. If you go looking now in the same conference, someone mentioned a guy's web page, and I went in there, and this guy went through this radio. He had one that had rivets on the band switch, and he put out a cry through the ham radio sources, for a new band switch. And then he proceeded to fix his old switch, maybe using some of the wafers from the new switch. He didn't realize how much work it is, the radio. The radio is not made to be repaired. All right? Simple repairs. In the old days, they'd fix it, but a lot of the places you take it to, it's trash. It's garbage. And, I'm a repairman. And I always like to stay with something past when I should have stayed with something. And the wires that are most likely going to fail, let me get in here. All right, let me make sure I'm here. All right. This is a terminal on the wafer switch. Right here. Am I on the? Wow. A little bit higher. Right here. The ones that are most likely going to fail are the terminals that are on the wafer switch, but are right next to the ground. Here's this ground. It's the two. There's two of these posts that hold the switch in the chassis, and there's a screw a long bolt that goes through here. And this is where the terminal that one of these top terminals is most likely the one to burn out, because probably the way you spray it with the deoxin, the way it runs down, it makes the wafer, the Bakelite wafer, conductive, and then this terminal always has if even if the switch, the radio's on, but the switch isn't in this position, there's still 250 volts right here. All right, and that 250 volts uh, goes between this terminal and this ground through the deox, and it sits there and it starts to smolder, after about a couple hours, and then the more it carbonizes, the more current goes through it, and then finally this goes on fire. That's how it happens. What I'm concerned about is I have one that's going, and I know just about where it is, but I want to be able to measure the current from the coil. If I lift the lead, measure the current going to ground, even though the terminal on the Bakelite wafer switch is not on. It's just sitting there, and that's how these go bad. There's 250 volts on the end of each one of these, on each one of these terminals, even though you don't have you're not on that band. And that's how it's happened. I know how it's happening. I understand it. But what's bothering me is I tried putting a meter on it. I tried putting my scope on it. And the noise, the little amount of noise from the arcing, when you do that up in the front end of the radio is so sensitive, it can pick that up. So you have 4 coils that are all wired to the same B+. And that's going to go up. The B+ travels up through the coils, and in the right position, it goes to the plate of the tube. Well, if you don't have the coil on, the 250 volts is still there on the terminal, waiting for you to move the switch and then send the current to the tube. So even though the tube is on a different terminal, a different coil, the other coils are still outputting 250 volts on the wafer switch. And if you have deox in this area here, it's going to slowly work its way through. And what it does, deox is an oxide, an acid. It slowly removes the molecules of the metal, and it moves the metal molecules across the Bakelite as plating. And after a while, it builds a path up, and it becomes more and more conductive. As more and more current flows, the Bakelite starts to turn black, it carbonizes, and then it goes on fire. And that's a terminal that's not even being on. It's on, but it's not on. It's not being used. And that's why. I just wanted to get that. Hopefully you understand that. My thing now is I'm just trying to figure out how to verify it and maybe troubleshoot it in the early stages before the smoke appears. And in the interim, I did the poop test, the color guard. I didn't like doing it. I don't like waking up half asleep and setting that thing up and pooping in the little thing. I got it all closed up. I put it out, go out to put it out in the mailbox, and it says to me, it don't fit. It don't fit the mailbox. And I put a sign on the mailbox. It's on the steps. Well, Jamie wrote me back a message. It's UPS. They sent me a test. Now, how the hell am I going to return it? It's got a UPS return label. I never did this before. I have to call UPS up now and have them come to my house and pick this package up. Thank you, Color Guard. And I don't even know if this is, I'm really aggravated at this point with that. What's the other thing that happened to me? Something else happened to me. This guy I know, I thought it was him. He's walking along, he's blind, and he's got a stick. And he's got a ball on the end of it, and he's going back and forth. I said to myself, that looks like so-and-so. I haven't seen him in like a year. I met him once. So I asked him, I said, you need help at the light? Yeah, thank you. So we get up to the light, we start talking. I knew the guy. And I said, well, how much can you still see? he can see across the street. He can see but he's going along with the stick like he's totally blind. And that's what I saw. And I said, "It's me, John." "Oh yeah, how you doing? Remember?" So I start questioning him, and then he's trying to get me to change the batteries in this reader he's got. And I'm like, "No, no, I'm not doing it because probably it's more than just the battery. It could be the charger. No." But he's playing the I'm blind game, and that was the other thing bouncing around in my head. Between this radio and the weather's going to get bad tomorrow. It's going to be really humid. And that's what's going on in my life. And I was just over at my neighbor's. I said, "How do they expect me to ship this thing back?" And he's laughing. I said, "This is my retirement. It's one stupid thing after another." I get a letter. Well, I think it might have said that the doctor's not doing the test this year, but this test and I come out and there's a box on my front steps. Even though this could be a con. In other words, Color Guard could be trying to stick it to me and then charge me. I don't know what's going on. I got to call someone, and I'm trying to calm down first, because I know everybody's out playing these games. I get the same phone call every day on the same number, and no one ever answers it. And I know it's a robocall message, and it's a survey thing that calls. Other people get it. There's someone on it. They just call me, and there's nobody on it. And I actually recognize the number. It's the 610 area code number. And yeah, that's so much fun being retired. All this stuff aggravating you, but yeah, get up when you're half asleep and set the toilet bowl up with this thing and poop into this. The whole thing is stupid. All right. Well, this could save your life, and yeah, you should see my poop from eating all the crappy food that I've eaten lately, because I used to always eat good, but now I'm aggravated. I think that's it. All right, that's it. Oh, I know the other thing. Are you guys sending me DVD movies? I bought a DVD movie on eBay, and then the guy gave me my money back. After a month, he never sent it to me. Now I'm getting DVD movies in packages from Amazon, and they're all stupid sci-fi movies. I don't know what to tell you guys. If it's one of you guys, stop. Please stop sending me stuff. I think that's it. Oh boy, what a day.